everybody. First of all, I just want to stress how appalling and totally unacceptable what is happening in Ukraine is. It is a callous act in complete lack of respect, humanity, and love. But aside from the human tragedy that is unfolding, I think that these shocking events can point to a particular absurdity in our societal matrix that I have been thinking a lot about and also talked and written quite a bit about. The illusory reliability of the nation state, or plain and simple, the absurdity of the nation state. I try not to get too caught up in the colossal drama that is being steamrollered upon us by leaders and by the media right now, and in general, actually. However, it's impossible, of course, not to pick up the main headlines. I have read some interesting and refreshingly ironic comments about how the Russian leadership has motivated their invasion by publishing maps of Ukraine, where Ukraine proper is reduced to a little piece in the middle and a little spot in the middle, really, whereas Russia allegedly has legitimate historical claims to the rest. By the same token, you might say that Russia hardly exists itself. I mean, Russia could be said to be Danish, could be said to be Swedish because of the crucial role of the Vikings when the Rus state was established in the 9th century, which was the forerunner to modern Russia. Siberia could be said to be Mongolian, and Finland is, of course, Swedish. Macedonia is Greek. What else? Half of Romania is Hungarian. Belgium definitely doesn't exist. And Italy, what is Italy? And so on, and so on. In actuality, almost none of the nations of Europe would be able to claim any right to exist within their current borders if all historical changes on the ground were to be accounted for. This, I think, shows the absurdity. I mean, we're not this or that nationality. We're not citizens, first and foremost. That's a shallow thing. That's a superficial thing. And it's a thing that can very easily change. And it has many, many times, as people knowledgeable about history know. Now, we're human beings having an experience on this planet. Look at a newborn baby. Look a newborn baby in its eyes. Do you see that do you sense that in there is a German, a Frenchman, or a Serb? Rhetorical question, of course. Now, do the Ukrainians have a right to live in an independent, free, and democratic Ukraine? Well, of course. Of course they do. But not because they live in a country that happens to have that name and that particular geographical delineation, but because it is the birthright of every human to live a free and independent life, no matter where you choose to let it play out. Another aspect, everybody knows that the wealth of nations is unevenly and unfairly distributed. Now, isn't that a sign that some nations have been successful and other nations less so? Well, that is actually an inadvertent circle reasoning in a way. We all know that inventions and new bold ideas that can improve life for humans here on this planet always have emerged in certain places and not in other places. That goes without saying. I mean, you hear about an idea that has emerged somewhere else from where you are. And that happens all the time. So that's unevenly distributed, but these new, bold, good ideas and these inventions would have been able to spread to the rest of humanity much, much more easy if it weren't for artificial obstacles like physical, technical, and economic borders between nations. Maybe, just maybe, these shocking events, maybe the meaning of this shocking new armed conflict is to highlight the absurdity of nation states, to highlight the illusion of nations and nationalities as something real, especially in this ever more interconnected world. This could be something that actually can be highlighted. Perhaps some of the disappointment and skepticism towards how some of the world's leaders handle the pandemic will morph over to skepticism and disappointment towards how these actions are warranted and described. Ordinary people in all the countries concerned with a newfound capability of thinking for themselves can watch what is being said and what is being done in real time, and they can communicate with each other across borders if they want to. It's easier than ever to do that. We're actually less in the hands of our leaders than we have ever been, if we can just realize it. All of us. Well, apart from North Koreans, perhaps. Finally, I'm not going to dismiss the possibility that this is going to be a protracted and bloody affair. I mean, the possibility is there, of course. But anything can happen. And I mean, particularly in our fast-moving and integrated world. And when you realize that anything can happen, you also must recognize that that doesn't only mean bad things. This could take a completely surprising turn, meaning a turn that is contrary to the power game of the ruling elite matrix. Again, my crystal ball is no better than anybody else's. And this is actually the beauty of the future, that is, it's constantly in creation and therefore constantly possible to influence, which is a fact that is obvious really, but surprisingly ignored. So my crystal ball is no better than anybody else's. However, I wouldn't be surprised if we will see things like massive anti-war protests in the streets of Russia. And we have already seen that to some extent, actually. And we might also see massive defections of officers and soldiers from the Russian army. I think there's no question that the key to a solution to this mess lies within Russia. The key lies within Russia. I've read pundits that I respect who think that what's happening now will be the end of Putin. Why? Because he has miscalculated and he has overstepped the unwritten rules of the ruling global elite so blatantly that he has shocked even his apologizers in the West, or many of them. Now, these are just some thoughts. Take them for what they are. And bye for now from this beautiful little bed and breakfast here in Merida, Mexico. It's called La Pantera Negra. Until next time, peace and love. Paz y amor. If you like this video and other interviews and talks on Mind the Shift, please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate all the support. And you can follow Mind the Shift on Facebook and Instagram. And you can follow me, Anders Bolling, on all the main social media and also on medium.com. Thank you.